This week on the Analog Circle podcast, the development of The Witcher 4 appears to be in trouble, according to a source close to CD Projekt Red. Big news is allegedly coming out this week about Starfield. Is it coming to PlayStation or what? How we're gonna talk about it. Numbers for Xbox's console sales have been revealed, but hey, let me tell you something. You know what? Actually, it might not be as bad as you guys might have thought. And Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater's release date has leaked. And believe you me, we won't have to wait that long. But all of these stories can be found here and more in episode 244 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Keon Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Welcome. Come on in, sit down, relax, kick your shoes off because we're gonna have a great conversation today. And if you're traveling, whether it's by car, by bus, by train, hopefully we can accompany you to your destination. Now, as always, if you want to be a part of listener feedback, you can do it two different ways. You can either email the show, and the email address is simply theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Or if you don't want to email the show, you don't want to type too much, and you just want to let your voice be heard, you can also do that by calling in at 443-380-0281. Now, with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and let's get into what we all come here for, and that is no doubt the gaming news that went down. So let's go ahead and let's get things started with the story that I got from Kotaku. So it's been so-called reports. Oh man, these reports that say the Nintendo Switch 2 could be $400 and $500 as well. Now, of course, we know that this info is only a rumor. It's only rumors with no official word coming from Nintendo. However, though, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa, this brother, he did say this during their third quarter earnings call. He said, and I quote, "We also need to consider the affordable prices that consumers expect from Nintendo products. When considering the price of our products, we believe that it is necessary to consider these factors from multiple angles. At this time, we cannot announce the specific price of the Nintendo Switch 2, but we are considering it, taking into account various points." End of quote. So it appears that Mr. Brother Furukawa here, he's saying that it looks like, and I don't want to sit here and project and act like I know exactly what the brother was talking about, but it seems like for him, it is important that they keep that same precedent when it comes to the prices of Nintendo products, particularly the Switch 2. It seems like he knows that the customers, the consumers out there, when it comes to Nintendo products, they expect for them to be priced a certain way. I think that Furukawa knows that they're not expecting, the consumer that is, that this console is going to be the same price as the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X. I think he knows and understands that the fan base has, even if they may not say it, but it is a certain, how can I say it? It's a certain price point that everybody has in their mind when it comes to a Nintendo product. Like they feel like, man, this is not gonna be at the top tier of the sphere when it comes to the pricing. They're gonna have it at a decent price, something that's affordable, something that's customer friendly. when it comes to their price point, because everybody knows that Nintendo, they're off doing their own thing. They said they're not competing with PlayStation and with Xbox. Now, I want them to compete. I want them to get in the ring, put the boxing gloves on, and go at it. But these jokers just want to fall back and say, nah, we not doing that. We not going to get our hands dirty with y'all. We want to just play on our own block. I get that. So people don't expect for them to be in the same league, as it were, price-wise, with Sony and Xbox. So with that being said, it seems like he's trying to do his best to keep that situation going. The only problem, and I got to shout out Mike J, and I got to shout out to the brother Yost, who actually was in the article that Mike J sent me. Now, Mike J, I got to be honest with you, brother. I didn't get a chance to read the whole article, but I did read a little bit of it. And of course, the thing that I'm talking about that could affect the Nintendo Switch 2's price point that we didn't take into consideration just a few short months ago was rumblings about it, that it could happen. But now that we're here under this new administration, we do know that as of February 4th, as the article actually brought out and said, that we now have tariffs on China at 10%. I think 25% or so when it comes to Mexico and some other place, might be Canada, but I think they got put on hold actually for the time being. Thank goodness for that, because somebody trying to buy a house, with the wood and the lumber and how much it could possibly go, man, houses ain't never gonna go down. God darn. But anyway, getting back to gaming, it could be a situation where even though Mr. Furukawa, he wants to keep that precedent going when it comes to the price point of their Nintendo products. But that tariff, we know that no matter what, if they get hit with that tariff, it's going to trickle down to us, which is the consumer, which means that product is going to be more expensive than it would have been if that tariff wasn't put on it. So I think that it could be a possibility that it may go higher than what they wanted it to, because I was looking at this article and goodness knows, I wish I could give them their due credit, but they actually had a situation where they were talking about inflation and in today's, economy, what would the Switch originally had sold for, if we're talking about putting it in today's economy back then in 2017. And they came up with the number, with everything being considered, it would have actually sold for roughly about $388, which means that, if that's the case, a company will put it up to $400. We've never seen a console sell for $269.99 brand new. Just doesn't happen, so it would have pretty much been rounded up to $400. And they were talking about that from the standpoint that the Switch 2 very well could be that price today, in today's priced market, it could cost that much. Now you put the tariff on there, it's 10%. I know that 10% isn't that huge, but shucks, in today's economy, every nickel and dime I'm counting, because food for two people I'm talking about, it's almost $200 a week. Just to feed two people. God bless you jokers that got kids out here, man. Got families, 3 and 5 of y'all in one household. God, dog, how are you making it? But I will say that with that being the case, that tariff, man, woo-wee, it could really take it up to $450, possibly $500. Who knows? I'm just curious to know. And I asked this before. I had 0 takers, and I get that. But I just have to know. Somebody email me, somebody call me and tell me, are you willing to go out on a limb and spend $450 to $500? Or do you believe, matter of fact, here's the better question. Do you think Nintendo is going to take a loss on this console and sell it for less than what they could Do you think they'll take the loss and let the software make up for it on the back end? Now, I'm going to tell you, I do not think Nintendo is going to do that. Nintendo hasn't done that since the GameCube days. I think that was the last time they took a loss, and man, they took a beating in that generation. They said, man, we ain't doing this again. Never again. Never, ever, 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 ever. So it's like now, they haven't done it, like I said, since the GameCube, the Wii came out, all of these other consoles, they've been selling at a profit. Do you think at this point in time, knowing where Nintendo stands, they're in very good standing with gamers. Heck, they're in good standings with me. That Zelda Breath of the Wild is hitting. Let me tell you, I'm chopping down trees and some more stuff, having me a blast in that game. So, look, I would get a Switch too. Now, for me, I got to tell you, I don't know if I'm going to spend $450 to $500 on it. I don't know if I could stomach that, knowing that it's not as powerful as the doggone Xbox Series X. But then again, that library, though, man, if they have a Zelda come out, if they have this, it was a report talking about it's going to be some remake of one of the Zeldas in a unannounced or unnamed Zelda game is going to be there at launch too. I don't know, man. I have turned into a Zelda fan out this joint lately. If they come out with a Zelda and that thing look like it was made in Unreal Engine 5 or something, man, they might have a brother hook, line, and sinker. I don't know. But I'm curious to know, do you think Nintendo would sell it at a loss? I don't think so. I think they've set the precedent. I think Nintendo likes making their money up front, their profit, and I do not think that they would have the price decline under how much they would feel comfortable selling it to make a profit, especially since they're going to be coming off of a fantastic generation. These guys have had side-scrolling Metroid come out, Luigi's Mansion 3. I got that. I haven't played it yet, but man, that joker looked pretty sturdy, I will say. Kirby, I played that, the game on the Switch. Even that game is kind of fire. They have a good rapport. I just think that they're gonna look. Furukawa's probably gonna say, "Look, this is the price. Tariffs tore us up, man. Changed our whole plan." And I think that if they come out there from that angle, they wanted to make it cheaper, but they just couldn't because of the tariffs, which they would never say as a corporation or a company. They're just gonna price it where they're gonna price it. But I do think that I think people are going to buy it nonetheless. I think they're not going to have too many problems with it, but we'll see though. We'll see. I'm not going to harp on this story too much longer. I'll just move on and we'll figure out what's going to happen on April 2nd, because we know that on April 2nd, at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that we're going to get that announcement of what the Switch 2 is. And I'm sure that's when we're going to get that price point. But let's go ahead though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Tech 4. So we were all made aware, and we all know this, that CD Projekt Red was switching their engine. Oh man, my goodness, this got me excited. But they were switching their engine from the Red engine to Unreal Engine 5. And when I saw that, I said, oh man, take my money, take all of it. And like I said, it was an exciting moment for me. But I will say that was until I actually read this report that suggests that things might not be going as smoothly as I thought they would have been going. So this report is actually coming from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 director Daniel Vevra. Matter of fact, shout out to that team. That game is doing absolutely fantastic. Man, they have really come out the gate swinging with that one. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So now he was talking about that, he had actually said that he opted to use the Far Cry engine over the Unreal engine because Unreal is extremely difficult to work excuse me, to work with when it comes to large games based on open world experiences. I said, oh no. Oh, I did not know that. Now, Daniel also had a conversation where he said, and I quote, I talked to someone from CD Projekt Red and said to him, so what about Unreal? What about the open world? He said, not yet. End of quote. Meaning CD Projekt Red hasn't even laid out the foundations of The Witcher 4's open world, brothers. They haven't even laid the groundwork yet. And the thing is that he also implies that CD Projekt Red believes that the switch to Unreal Engine 5 was a mistake because the Red engine was stable and polished already. Oh, man. CD Projekt Red say it ain't so. Oh, man. Y'all know how long I've been championing this Unreal Engine 5. After I saw that demo from The Matrix Awakens, I said, dang, y'all awaken me. This is how graphics can look on these current consoles. Sign me the heck up. Everything is going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful. I didn't know they were having trouble making open world games on Unreal Engine 5. Now, granted, this is coming from a third party source. This is again coming from the director of, what's the name of the game again? The Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, pardon me. The director, Daniel Vavra. He's saying, well, his last name is spelled V-A-V-R-A. Y'all know how I am with names. I don't mean no harm by pronouncing the name wrong. Pardon me. But Vavra, that's what it looked like it is. He's saying that he talked to one of these guys at CD Projekt Red. Joker told him they ain't even pretty much laid the groundwork. Not yet, was the quote when he talked about the open world. And what about Unreal Engine? God, dog, could it be a situation where The Witcher 4 is going to take a little bit longer? Could it be a situation where where the Red engine was actually enough for them to make the game? Man, bump that. I don't want to believe this. I don't want to believe that this engine, because it's been games made in Unreal Engine already. Wasn't Black Myth Wukong made in Unreal Engine? Well, I ain't going to say that was like an open world game. Might have been semi-open world. Man, hold on. You know what? Let's see what the heck Google got to say about this. Is developing games in Unreal Engine 5 for open world difficult? Man, that joke ain't even hear me. All right, it's saying, while developing open world games in Unreal Engine 5 is still considered challenging, it's not necessarily a, quote, joke, as the engine offers powerful tools specifically designed to facilitate large, complex open worlds, making the process significantly easier compared to previous iterations. However, it still requires a high level of technical expertise and careful planning to achieve optimal results.
What you talking about, Willis?
God, dog. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, look, this is CD Projekt Red we're talking about. These guys, I know they got the expertise. I know they got the technical prowess to be able to pull this off. But it is interesting that working with Unreal Engine 5 on open world games, it can be a bit difficult. But I mean, I guess the silver lining is they said they offer some powerful tools, designed to facilitate these large, complex open worlds. So hopefully, CD Projekt Red will be able to do that, make those tools work to your benefit, make them work for you, and you'll be able to have this game out in no time. And of course, again, this was a third-party source that said that they talked to CD Projekt Red. Until CD Projekt Red officially comes out and says something, we have to take this with the mustard seed of truth. But yeah, dog, just the fact that it is a little difficult to work on when it comes to open world games definitely leaves a bit of a question mark when it comes to how smoothly The Witcher 4 is coming along inside of its development. We'll see how this actually shakes out and comes out in the wash a little later on. Let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's move on into the next story that I actually got from The Verge. Now, just quickly, going back, before I forget. Yeah, going back to Nintendo. Now, we already know their deep dive show for the Switch 2 is happening. Man, I already told y'all about this. That's right. Yeah, it's happening at 9 a.m. April 2nd, 9 a.m. is when the show is going to be taking place. So get ready for that. What day does April 2nd fall on? I want to know if I'm going to be home like I'm going to be home today for that PlayStation State of Play event. Let me see what April 2nd is. April 2nd is a Wednesday, so I should be home. Oh, man, and it's happening early in the morning, too, on the East Coast. I'm going to definitely check that out. So just remember that 9 a.m. for the Nintendo event, I guess, the Switch 2 reveal event, April 2nd, 9 a.m. All right, let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I got from Windows Central. Oh, man, Windows Central. Man, I'm not going to get too heavy into it, but I didn't write this down. I just found this out. I got a shout out to Z in the Broadband Bully. Shout out to that good brother. And I got a shout out to Porter Rock for 60 Frames No Lag podcast, man. Shout out to those two good brothers, man. Those brothers are entertaining, man. Shout out to them and their panels as well, their respected panel members as well. So I'm kind of veering left when I talk about this, but did y'all know that it was propaganda going on out here in the gaming streets, as it were, from different outlets, as well as people that are associated with some of the bigger brands in gaming. It was a discord of people that would come together to try and come up with false news stories about the PlayStation 5 to make it look bad, to actually make it look like it was less powerful than the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, for that matter. Talking about it, the liquid metal was leaking out the side, and some of the consoles that caught on fire. This was all orchestrated by multiple individuals inside of the gaming space to do all of these stories, again, to make PlayStation 5 look as bad as they possibly could make it look, so that Xbox would be looked at as the better console. I said, wow, not shocking, absolutely not shocking. But the shocking part about it is some of these outlets are supposed to be credible outlets. They're not on here just podcasting like myself. They have a whole whatever millions of dollars worth of a company behind some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. They come from big outlets and they were spreading this false news. So I found it very, very interesting that, man, good grief, journalism, real journalism is under attack. These jokers are supposed to be non-biased entities when it comes to them actually talking about reviewing or previewing anything in the gaming sphere. This is their profession. They're not doing this as a hobby like me. These jokers getting paid for doing this. And I guess, man, to a certain degree, could it be payola? Could it be the 2025 payola? Pretty much. Now, I'm not saying, now, please hear me and hear me well. I am not, because I don't want no trouble. I am not saying that Xbox had anything to do with this or Microsoft. I am not implying that at all. All I'm saying is I have to believe that it was it had to be some kind of incentive for them to do this. But by all means, I am not. I want to make it crystal clear. I'm not saying that Microsoft or Xbox had anything to do with it. Matter of fact, I'm going to say they didn't have anything to do with it. These individuals, they were working for themselves, and they could have been, they was mercs for hire. Brother, they was mercs for hire. They were doing this because they loved the Xbox brand. They was doing this for free. For free. Hoo-wee. Lot going on there, lot going on. But look, I'm trying to get y'all out of here in an hour. Okay, so I'm not going to get into it much more. But I found that extremely interesting that, God dog, man, console warring. Just come out and say you like the console war. I love it. I love it. People try to make it a bad thing. Oh, man, why you going to go out there and console war? Because I love it. I love it. I grew up on it. Sega, I ain't got to go through what they did. It's all about the competition at the end of the day. These people act like it's so wrong. It's so bad. Oh, exclusives should be everywhere. We should all have exclusives and get along with each other. Man, please. I want these jokers fighting to the death. This is blood sport. That's what I want. Unfortunately, it looks like Xbox doggone got taken out like Bolo back in the day. Joker got choked out. And he ain't even trying no more. Man, just take all of our stuff. Hey, we love y'all. We don't want no trouble. Man, Joker's walked off the block, empty pockets empty, then robbed them for everything. Anyway, I got to get back on track, man. I'm trying to get y'all out of here in 33 more minutes. Let's see if we can make it happen. All right, so getting back to this story right here, Windows Central, I might add. Now, one big topic of discussion has been the Final Fantasy franchise. Mainly Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and pretty much Final Fantasy 16. It's been the talks of, are they going to other platforms, mainly Xbox? Well, as always, insider Nate the Hate has come out to let people know what he has heard. And according to him, Final Fantasy 16 will be announced / released for Xbox in the first half of this year, 2025, possibly in the spring. Now, we said Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will release for Xbox in 2026. Now, Nate also said that Square Enix will announce these Xbox ports of Final Fantasy games simultaneously for maximum effect. To me, I think this is fantastic news. Congratulations. If it's true, congratulations, Xbox. My only thing is, and y'all know me, brother, I try to keep the same situation going. I'm wondering how many copies is it going to sell, or are they going to wait for Game Pass?
Move this man!
Oh, don't get mad at me, goddoggy. Are you going to wait for Game Pass to get these games to play a bit? Or are y'all going to purchase these games? Man, oh man, I'm telling you, that's why Square Enix said we ain't trying to put it over there. Yeah, we got a contract with Sony, but we ain't too sure if they gonna sell like that over there. These jokers waiting for Game Pass. Oh, man, any of y'all gonna pick these up? Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and Final Fantasy 16. Cause man, listen, they crying for them. Some people are. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way. It's not to be disrespectful, but people are saying, when is it coming to our platform? When are we going to get it on Xbox? When are you going to give it to us? It's like, okay, we're going to give it to y'all. Are y'all going to buy it? Are you going to buy it? I forgot who it was that had an interview not too long ago. Was it Sean Layden? Might have been Sean Layden. And pardon me if I got it wrong, but he said the best way to get sequels or get games on your platform is to go out and support them. Go out and buy them. We already know the Game Pass is up to 80% of the money is lost. Putting it in that service, up to 80%. So if you want these Final Fantasy games to continue to go to Xbox as long as Xbox is around, gotta go out there and support them. Go out there and spend the money if you are a Final Fantasy fan. I've spent the money. I've got some of the Final Fantasies upstairs. I mean, it's not one of my favorite franchises, but I bought a few of them. You know, brand new. Didn't get them used, you know, to show my support. They even got them on Xbox. I actually got one of them over on Xbox at one point in time. What was that, Final Fantasy? Was it 14? I can't remember. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I remember. But, yeah, if you want these to continue to go over there, these different games, just go out there and support them. So, again, just to bring this story all the way home, the first half of this year, you're going to be getting Final Fantasy 16 on the Xbox. And then next year, you're going to be getting Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 7. Well, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth and Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So, yeah, the spring is looking pretty good for y'all if this report is true. We shall see, though. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from IGN. So for people like me, and I do say this, man, people like me who are very excited about Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, we may have to wait a little longer, but not much longer, because the release date of the game, and this is according to a PlayStation Store leak, the game will release on Thursday, August 28th, 2025. So for me as a person, I got to say this, and I think I've said it before when we had found out about this game early on. I said that I had never played the original release of Snake Eater 3. So I'm very, very much so looking forward to this game and seeing how it plays, seeing the story, and, you know, just really trying to connect the dots between Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. And I did play 4, beat 4. That was cool. I enjoyed it. It was a whole lot, man. Kojima was tripping with that one a little bit, though. It was so many movies, so many cutscenes. I'm like, man, this cutscene seemed like it was 20 minutes long. This Joker right here, he needs to make a real life movie the way he had those scenes going. But anyway, that's besides the point. Again, August 28th, anybody that is looking for or looking forward to Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Now, let's go ahead and let's get into the next story, and let's get into some rumors.
Rumor has it is something that only I know.
So we got to talk about this. Starfield. Starfield is back in the news, and I got this from Game Rant, but Starfield is back in the news because apparently a leaker who is familiar with Bethesda said this on X. And by the way, his name is Oda Fields. It's spelled O-D-A-H Field. He said, quote, "You will get hashtag Starfield news next week," which is this week, "but not the one you expect." End of quote. So what does this mean? What is this that he talks about, not the one you expect? Well, it could mean simply that The second DLC for the game could be getting announced with a release date. Especially, now this is the thing, especially since Todd Howard said it was in the works last year. Now, it's also the long rumored possibility of Starfield also appearing on the PlayStation 5 that could also be announced along with the game's first DLC being available on the same day. Could you imagine?
What you talking about, Willis?
Oh, man. Oh, goodness gracious. How would that be? We know that later on today. I am laughing. I'm laughing a little too hard, though. I need to relax. I need to calm down a little bit. But this hurts. Wait a minute. This actually hurts because... All right, let me compose myself. God, dog, I'm professional productions. Could it be a situation at 5 o'clock today, Eastern Standard Time? We know that PlayStation is having their show. Their state of play. Could you imagine if they actually talked about Starfield releasing on that stage and the DLC coming? And possibly, what if the new DLC is there day and date with the new game? Well, it's not new, but the game will be new to PlayStation 5 owners. Golly, at first, I didn't really believe this story. I was like, well, because at that time, and shout out to Mike J again, man. Shout out to that good brother for actually sending me the story early this morning that the state of play was actually happening. I appreciated that, brother. I did. I didn't think it was happening. I truly thought that, hey, you know, it's probably not going to go down because it's already Tuesday. We're about to be halfway through the week and we've heard nothing. And all of a sudden I looked on my phone and bam, good brother sent me the article. I said, oh, shucks. Oh, I can't wait. So the first thing, well, not the first thing. The first thing I thought was Wolverine. Oh, we're going to see Wolverine or Ghost of Yotai. We're going to see that. But then I thought back to this, man, I'm lying. I ain't think back to nothing. I'm just doing this in real time and remembering, oh yeah, Starfield, that could come over too. It brings me no joy to talk about Starfield coming over to the PlayStation. It doesn't, because I'm still a big believer in exclusives. So yeah, I was laughing, I was joking and all of that stuff. I was kind of joking a little bit, half and half. You know, because it's like, man, the irony of it all. They get all of these good games and all of a sudden they just start giving them away. God dog it, Microsoft. But I digress. I'm trying to get y'all out of here in the next, 22 minutes. So I'm not going to make this too long, but we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully, I ain't going to lie, man. I might pick this up. If it's over on the PlayStation, I might pick this up. They were already talking about Senua Saga is going to be over there possibly as well. I might have to pick them up, brother. You know, yeah, I think so. Because I think I've pretty much made it up in my mind. There's no reason to have an Xbox. And it really does. It does pain me, all kidding aside. The gaming side of me, it's not like real pain in my actual life, but as a gamer and a person that loves the culture, it is a bit of a sore spot, and it does still irk me, sometimes when people say, oh man, all of the games are coming. And here I am, poking fun, but realistically, I kind of hate it. And somebody might say, well, you have a PlayStation 5. What you mad about? I'm like, it's just not the gaming culture that I'm used to. It's just not. It's like by all means, you never side with your enemy. And I understand this is gaming, but these are two different corporations going at each other. Y'all are not friends. You're not supposed to be friends. You're supposed to be out here competing for our dollars and giving us a reason to go out there and buy your product, buy your console, to buy the games that you're offering. I don't want to play them on your competitors, but at the same time, I'm like, but I'm not going to just give you my money just because of, how I feel when you're telling me, when Xbox is telling me you don't need a console not required. It's like, man, it's just those kind of things where as a previous Xbox fan, I'm like, yeah, y'all just kind of get what you deserve at this point in time, because y'all just aren't trying. Y'all are taking your fan base for granted. You're giving PCs exclusives. You're going to have the PlayStation 5 Pro version of some of these games coming out. It's like, God, dog, man. So this is really what you want me to do. You don't want me to go out there and buy your console. Understood. I will save my $500 and spend it on a bill or something like that. But anyway, we'll see what happens with this. Starfield may be coming out later on today on PlayStation 5, or this may all be a farce. Only time will tell. Let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from... Where did I get this next story from? Oh, yeah, I got it from WCCF Tech. So this next story isn't the biggest news, but Death Stranding 2 has received an official rating from the South Korean GRAC, which stands for the Game Ratings Administration Committee. Now, of course, if you were guessing, the game has been rated M for excessive violence, excessive vulgar language, profanity, swearing, drug use, and smoking and drinking. Now, hold on, give me 1 second. Oh, pardon me. Now, outside of those factors, what makes this rating a little more exciting, because we all knew it was going to be M-rated. That's not a shock. But the thing that makes this more exciting is the fact that usually when a game is rated, that means that the release of said game is not too far out from release. Usually that's how it works, going off of history. It's basically been like, for the most part, just a couple of months out. So again, now going back to this state of play that's happening later on today, I don't think we're going to see Death Stranding 2 there, because next month Kojima is supposed to be doing something with that game, a deep dive, at some other event. So I can't imagine that Kojima would have the game show up today and know that he has something coming up next month where they're supposed to be doing a deeper dive into the game. Now, who knows? Maybe he could always show off a 30-second clip, maybe, and possibly, look, even a release date, even if he showed off a quick clip and it had a release date or a release window, then I think that would suffice, and just say, inside of the trailer, we'll be showing off more next month on such and such day. So I don't think, again, just because of that, I don't think Death Stranding is going to have a real big presence here at the PlayStation State of Play event today. But we will see, though. We'll see. But let's go ahead, though, guys. Not too much more to talk about when it comes to Death Stranding 2. The smoking and drinking, all of that's, yes, to be expected. But let's get into the next story that I actually got from True Achievements. Now, according to Avowed game director Kerry Patel, while sitting down for an interview with Ben Hansen, he revealed that the Xbox Series X frame rate will perform much better than we all originally thought, by saying, and I quote, "You can get up to 60. End of quote. Darn. That is excellent. Excellent news. Now, outside of it getting up to 60, because at one point in time, I got to shout out Iron Lord's podcast. I believe it was, oh man, that brother's name is blanking on me right now. He had asked a question to one of the developers, and we thought that the game was going to be 30 frames per second. So it looks like they incognito. Shout out to you, good brother. It looks like, I guess they needed more time, and during that time frame, they were actually able to bump it up to 60. I think they also said it would do 40 frames per second as well. Now the caveat, I think, is these frame rates can only be achieved on Xbox Series X, I believe, not the S, which could mean that could the parity clause possibly, could the grip on that be loosening a bit? I mean, we'll see. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is it was more questions that were asked, and some of those questions had included the interviewer saying or asking, just more information about the game. And the developer did say that some of the other features of the game will be that it'll have multiple endings, and it is, quote, maybe, end of quote, DLC coming in the future, and, quote, yes to characters from the first two pillars of Eternity making an appearance in Avowed, and the game releases, we all know this, on February 18th, 2024. So this is fantastic news. Again, Xbox, they are kind of on fire right now, man. They really are, in a good way. I mean, they have Doom coming out later on this year. They got Avowed coming out, next week? They got South of Midnight also releasing. They got Ninja Gaiden 4 releasing. And I know some people could say, well, that's going to be on PlayStation. Yes, you are right. Along with Expedition 33. Yes, that's going to be on PlayStation as well. But the difference is all those games are going to be in Game Pass day and date. Whereas for a person like myself, which I don't mind, of course, but I will have to buy each one of those games a la carte in order to play them on the PlayStation. Whereas somebody on the Xbox side, they just wake up one morning, the game is in Game Pass, I'll download it and play it. So that's still a great value for Xbox fans, Xbox players. And it's no way I could ever, knock that. So again, Avowed will be at 60 frames per second. It will have multiple endings, and it could have DLC coming in the near future, as well as having characters appearing in the game from the first two pillars of Eternity. I know I kind of repeated myself with that, but I felt like I wasn't very clear the first time I had said it. But let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into, this story right here was very, very interesting. And I'd be curious to know what you guys' thoughts are about this. So since last generation, Xbox hasn't been very forthcoming when it comes to their console sales or their, numbers. But as always, golly, because this has happened before, leave it to a publisher or a developer to give you the answers you're looking for. And this time, Take-Two is the culprit. And this info came out during a quarterly earnings report where Take-Two stated that combined, the Series S/X and PS5 have sold over 94 million units. And this is the thing, since PlayStation is transparent, as of September 30th, PS5 they have sold over 65.5 million units at that time worldwide, and sold a few million in October. So that could take them, this is roundabout. This could take them at around 67 to maybe around like 69 million, meaning that with those numbers, that Xbox Series X consoles have sold around 27 to 29 million units as of November 2024. Now, I will say, for some, they would say that these numbers are trash, these are bad numbers, this is terrible. I gotta say, man, I kind of don't see it that way. I kind of see it as a situation where Xbox is doing just enough to hang around. Now, granted, they are getting outsold 2-1. A little bit more than that. A little bit more than 2-1 because we had 65.5 versus 27-29. No, I'm sorry, 67-69 million, pardon me, compared to 27-29. So, yeah, they're getting a little more than outsold 2-1. But I will say that the thing I'm looking at as the Series X and S released abysmally. And I don't even think that's a word, abysmally, but it was so bad. They didn't have any launch games. They didn't have anything at launch to show off what these consoles were capable of graphically. They had a drought of like 2 or 3 years. I'll say 2. I won't put 3 on them, but man, it was a long drought where they had nothing coming out for the console. And it was just stuck in neutral for years. But some kind of way, these jokers still managed to sell between 27 and 29 million. That is way more than what the Wii U sold. The Wii U sold, let's look it up, because that was a failure. How many consoles did the Wii U sell? That joker sold 13.56 million units worldwide. So if anybody wants to say, and I get it, I like to make fun of them too, I do, but I want to be fair this time. I understand when people say that Xbox is failing terribly, they're being outsold, 2+ to 1, they're down way worse than last generation. They ain't got no game. Well, we can't say that anymore, but it's just this is just a bad outing for them. I agree with that, but at the same time, they are nowhere close to having the numbers as Wii U at 13.6 million. Now, when you get that far down the totem pole, you have lost it all. Now, granted, I believe, let's see how many Xbox Ones sold. How many Xbox Ones have sold? All right, so as of November 2024, nearly 58 million Xbox One consoles have been sold worldwide. So you're talking about, yeah, they are down. They are down. They're down by what? Let's say even at 29 at the highest point, 39, 49, 59. They're down by like 29 million less. 29 million. But let's look at this let's look at this in an honest, from an honest lens, from an honest perspective. Now, this is dated 2024. The Xbox One, to be fair, came out in, 2013? So we're talking about, it's been 11 years. We're in year number 5. Yeah, this is going on year 5 in November for the Xbox Series X. So it's half the time, and it's at 29 million. Now, granted, this generation, it could last another 3 to 4 years, making it possibly get close to 10 years. They may be able to sell. Oh no, man. I think I'm being way too hopeful. I don't think they're going to sell too many more, but I don't know. It's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's bad because, they are getting beat down royally. But they still got between 27 and 29 million out there. That's still a good number. Anytime These jokers can go out here and talk about the Steam Deck is successful, and that joker sold like 4 million. Matter of fact, let's see what the Steam Deck sold. Let's just be fair all across the board. How many Steam Decks have sold? All right, they have sold multi-millions. Man, what the heck does that mean? All right, now look, check this out. Hold on, let me try to find some more recent numbers, because it's talking about in 2022 the Steam Deck sold 1.62 million. 2023 the Steam Deck sold 3 million. Okay. 2023 hold on, how many Steam Decks have sold? All right, let's see. All right, so we're saying, all right, now to be fair, it won't go past, for some reason, 2023. It says, yes, the Steam Deck has sold millions of units, but it's still considered a niche device compared to the Nintendo Switch. So, all right, it's saying Simon Careless of Game Discover Co. estimated that there were between 3 and 4 million Steam Deck owners. So if we want to talk about Steam Deck being a success, you know, as a handheld, and, you know, it's setting the gaming streets on fire, it's one of the best things out, then we cannot. If we're going off of that metric, and I understand that it is a niche product, I understand people are not rushing out to get a doggone Steam Deck, but some people will have you believe that the Steam Deck is the future. Oh man, everybody's gonna get one. Are you nuts? It's 3 to 4 million. And people want to act like that is such a success. It is no way you can go here and be fair about it. Yes, it is losing. It is getting the heck kicked out of it right now. If you want to talk about number for number, you know, with the PlayStation, you know, between the Xbox and the PlayStation. But at 27 to 29 million, that's really not that. It's not as bad as it could be. Let me put it that way. It's not as bad. It's about 29 million off from the Xbox One that's been out for 11 years. It's not even officially the 5th year of its existence. It'll be that in November of this year. So it's not bad, man. It's darn sure not PlayStation numbers, but I don't think it's that bad, man. I think that they could grow. Xbox could have done themselves so many more favors by not telling people no console required. They could have done so much better. But despite their messed up messaging and the stuff that they talked, they still sold 27 to 29 million. All they had to do was...
Shut! Did I say... Say it again. Say something else. Say something else. Say something else.
All they had to do was shut up. They didn't have to do much. They didn't have to say too much. I shouldn't have said shut up, pardon me. That was a little too extreme. All they had to do was just keep quiet. I take the shut up back. That was a little too much. But all they had to do was just be quiet, man. And just let things fall into place. But that wasn't the case. And here we are today. 27 to 29 million. That's not too bad. But I'm curious to know, is that a better number than you guys were expecting? Or did you guys expect for it to be, you know, lower? Or is this where you guys thought that they would be? I'm just curious to know. But we're going to go ahead, though, guys. We'll get into the final story. We're going to be just a little over an hour, but, you know, we'll get it together. But the last story, I actually got it from Twisted Voxel. So, man, here we are yet again for the 3rd week in a row. with more God of War news. Now, this time the news took place on the Insider Gaming Weekly podcast, where co-host Tom Henderson, who he is a pretty good source. Tom Henderson he's pretty good. I'm not going to say he has a perfect track record, but Tom Henderson he has a good track record. But he addressed the previous rumor about the next God of War taking place in Egypt, where he received a source that claimed that was inaccurate and claimed the next God of War will take place in Greece. Now, furthermore, the source also mentioned that the next God of War will star a younger version of Kratos, and the storyline will involve his relationship with his father Zeus, seemingly suggesting this will be a prequel. Now, to me, that's not how this read to me. I mean, let's try to connect the dots here. So, what if this isn't a new God of War game at all? I mean, what if this is the rumored remake or remaster of the entire original franchise? Because if the rumors were true last year, by the Chinese insider, shout out to him, Lunatic Ignis, we covered this. He did say that this project would be revealed in March of this year to celebrate the franchise's 20th anniversary. Now, also, that previous rumor that I'm talking about from Mr. Lunatic Ignis, it also stated that it stated that not only would the first 3 original God of Wars be being remade or remastered, but also God of War Chains of Olympus, God of War Ghosts of Sparta, and Ascension would also be included in that list as well. So I'm sitting here and I can't imagine what kind of sense would that make to go back to Greece again as a younger Kratos. We've done it already. I mean, only did it in 3, only played the 3rd one. All of the other original God of Wars I never played. So I'm thinking, and especially with today being the day that we're going to be getting a state of play. I understand they said it would be shown in March. It would be talked about for the 20th anniversary. But what if at this state of play, now I could absolutely be 1,000% wrong about this, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say, what if God of War is shown today, the original 3 remastered or remade, and they actually say that the release date of it will be, in March for the 20th anniversary of the God of War franchise. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. We've already seen PlayStation remaking and remastering games that really didn't need it. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn, granted, that game looks stunning, beautiful looking game, but we didn't need it. The Last of Us Part 1 remake, we didn't need it, but they did it. The Last of Us Part 2 remaster, another game that we didn't need, and I am the biggest fan of that game. The biggest. I mean, the $10 upgrades, man, that don't hurt. I ain't gonna lie. But I only bring that up just to say, I mean, we even heard Days Gone was supposed to be getting a remake or a remaster. What the world? So the precedent is set that this is what PlayStation does. They've been doing this all generation. But what better way to celebrate Kratos, for his 20-year anniversary by going back to the origin of where it all started and bringing that to us at 60 frames per second, 4K graphics or 1440p, whatever the case may be, faster loading times, better, more beautiful graphics, probably, just reliving those stellar boss battles that we had. I only had the boss battles in the 3rd one. Like I said, the 1st and the 2nd one, never played it. So this would be a big treat for me, but I think that that's what we're going to get. I mean, it's already talking about Zeus. He already had the quarrel that he had with Zeus in the original trilogy. So why and how would you be able to go back to Greece and retell the story all over again? He already fought all of the Greek mythology gods in that franchise. The original one. I'm sure maybe it was a couple of them left out. I'm not like a huge person that knows all about, Greek mythology. It's not a thing that I know too much about, but I'm sure they covered a lot of the main gods in that game. So I think it's going to be a remake or a remaster of the original trilogy, but I would love to get you guys' opinion on this. Hey, man, I won't even have to get I still want your opinion. I was going to say, because the state of play is about to happen in just a couple of hours. It is 8:59 right now, while I'm recording this. So not too much longer that we'll have to wait until, this happens. And you might be listening to this after the show has already happened. So you'll already know the answer to this question. But anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week, which leads us into the final section of the podcast. And I know you guys saw the question already, but let's go over it officially. And I truly appreciate you guys being here. So the question is, should gaming become all digital? Now, we know about this outage that happened with Sony over last weekend. I didn't get on the PlayStation 5 over the weekend, so I didn't go through it. I do understand that I think it was out for 18 hours, and they did credit everybody who has PSN with a 5-day. I think it's 5 extra days, of PSN for free for the inconvenience. I know that some people had said that it was double XP weekend, so a lot of people missed out on that. And people wanted to be compensated. And Sony, they gave 5 days, now whether or not that's good enough for you guys, that is for you to decide. Maybe some people wanted to get 30 days, but that's for you to be the judge of that. I don't have PSN, so it wouldn't have mattered to me. But, and that's selfish of me to say that. I don't mean it I meant it like that. It don't matter to me. I don't have it. I don't have the service, but I do feel, a certain way that people that actually paid for the service wouldn't be getting the service that they actually paid their hard-earned money for. So I take that back. I take that fully back, the not caring part, because it doesn't affect me. That's not fair. It does affect somebody out there, and PlayStation is taking your money on a constant basis, so you should get what you pay for, but you do have 5 extra days. I'm curious to know if that's enough payment for you, but during that time frame, it was the situation that was coming up where people weren't able to access some of their games. Some people didn't have access to their library. Now, I do understand that some people are game sharing, and because of that, you can't necessarily access your games because you don't necessarily have the license on your console at that time, something like that. So I do get that. But at the same time, I told you guys I ran into a problem with Infamous Second Son when I was trying to get it to run on the PlayStation 5, when I actually downloaded it to my external hard drive and tried to put it on from my PlayStation 4 and tried to put it on the PS5, and it would not read it. Why? Because I didn't have access to the license. So the other thing that I didn't tell y'all was when I unplugged my Xbox Series X, Xbox One, I had to do a system update. I hadn't turned the Xbox One on in months. So I got the power cord for it, turned it on. It had to do some updates. And once it updated everything, it erased all of my digital games. I have over 50 something. I got well over 50 digital games, and it erased all of them from my hard drive. And I was like, man, I got to sit here and download each one of these games over again. I haven't even done it yet. Over 50 something games to download. Man, I said, darn, what the world happens if you can't get these games on a physical disc? And I know Crimson Phoenix. I know I don't own it, brother. I know, but in some cases the information could be there. So it really got me to thinking between that and the outage, with PlayStation. Man, should gaming really become all digital? And I have to say, no, I totally disagree. I know we had talked about it last week about Sony would a all digital PS6 sell without the option for a disk drive, and it was an overwhelming amount of people that during that IGN poll who said no, they wouldn't be getting it. Of course, we know some people talk is cheap. People say one thing online and then, behind closed doors, they're doing something else. But they brought up the situation where a lot of people don't have the same kind of internet that we have here in the States or in Europe, over in the UK, whatever the case may be. So it wouldn't be a good thing for them to do that because they would lose some of their fan base. So, yeah, I just don't think that at this point in time we're ready for a all gaming digital future. I don't think so. But I would love to hear from you guys. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in, and the phone number is 443-380-0281 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is simply theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I was your host, Keon Mitchell, and again, I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you. Now, with that being said, before we tie this thing up and put a bow on it, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So until next Wednesday, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.